Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is going to be a special episode because I have found yet another cult movie actress who generally doesn't do interviews and is generally nowhere to be found, but I found her and she is gracious enough to grant me an interview tonight. Elaine Wilkes. You may remember her. She played Tracy in 16 Candles. She was in the underrated slasher classic Killer Party. She was in Who's That Girl? She was on Dallas towards the end. And I'm going to interview her today because she basically got out of the movie industry after Dallas, and she's nowhere to be. She was nowhere to be found, and she's doing other stuff now. And I'm going to find out what she's been up to. She's such a beautiful lady. Oh my God, back in the 80s, she was just a complete knockout. She still is, but back in the 80s especially. Oh, but. So, yeah, here is my interview with Elaine Wilkes. Hey, Elaine, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. Thanks so much. I have to tell you, are we on the show? Are you recording it?
I'm recording it, but whatever we don't need, I can edit out.
No, okay, great. I wanted to tell you, I have to commend you for sure on your email. You should do a little course on email etiquette because you did such a great job. You were really persistent in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really awesome. Like, I'm so sorry. It's just been so busy for me. And you were so great because, and this is something everybody should learn. I swear persistence is what will win out. And you because I had to make a change, and usually people are like, oh, forget it, or they forget to follow up. And you totally followed up, and then you were really nice about everything, and you really did a great job.
Oh.
It's really important.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very,
No,
I'm very humiliated right now.
No, but you really did. It's awesome. And people don't realize it's like the ones who follow up and the ones who ask are the ones who get what they want. And that's really important. It's like I have a friend who, she's amazing. One of my friends will call like CEOs of companies and say like, will you mentor me? And like she has all these people mentoring her, and she's like, and it's like she goes, you just have to ask. And she goes, and just follow up. If they say, okay, call me back, and they do it. Most people don't. I've had so many people like call over the years, and it's like they just have a really busy schedule, and I'll say, and then they just don't really follow up again, or they don't. So you did a great job. You did a really great job.
Oh, thank you.
The record.
Thank you so much.
Great. Persistence is one of the best skills someone can have. One of the best. Because persistence, I don't like the word persistence because it sounds like you're nagging someone, which you weren't.
Right.
Persistence is just like such a great skill because not a lot of people have it. They'll give up after one try, or they, I'm sorry, my alarm went off.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's a great skill, and it's a great quality to have for sure.
I agree. I actually posted a Facebook status about a week or so ago about persistence and how I've been doing 300 plus episodes now because I've been persistent.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up on that. Yeah, I mean that's amazing. And it's just also like Tony Robbins says, like do massive work and just keep at it, because I'm sure you've learned so much from. What have you learned from the first episode to the 300th one?
Well, I learned not to be nervous and starstruck, and I've learned a lot from that. I've just been a lot more confident, a lot more thorough in my research. I try my best not to ask cookie cutter questions, but sometimes I end up doing it not on a subconscious level,
Wow, but look at how much you've learned.
Mm-hmm. And it's only been a year, too.
theater?
Yep.
Wow. That's so impressive. It really is. It's so impressive. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so funny because some people will be like, well, I'm going to try a podcast and see, they'll do like 5 or something, and then they'll quit, and then they'll say, well, it didn't work. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
How do you get in touch with everyone? Like, how do you find them? Or
same way I do with you, email or Facebook, Twitter. Also, too, I go to a lot of conventions. I meet a lot of people, and I become Facebook friends with them, and we end up, getting along, and then we get a friendship going, and then I start interviewing them and stuff.
wow, that's awesome. Do you want to act yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean I've done theater, and I interviewed one person who was producing and directing a movie, and she put me in it last year. It hasn't been out yet, but
that's awesome. Because I was thinking you'd be great even going on sets, like if you and things like that. And it seems like you'd be a good actor. Mm-hmm. You know so much about the business. By doing this, you probably learned so much.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been a stand-up comedian for 12 years too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done all that stuff, and I'm just recovering from a car accident I had 3 years ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now because I was not driven to succeed. Before the accident, I drank for a few years, and I was just a lost soul. And then that accident helped me because I was in a coma for 30 days, and I spent 5 months in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you spent 5 months what?
I spent 5 months in the hospital.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And then what made you decide to do this? How'd you get started with this?
Well, with this podcast, what happened was, I got out of the hospital the day before my birthday in 2015, which was June 5th. And I spent the next, year and a half going up on stage, going to conventions, just doing things to find a way into showbiz and what have you. And then my mom got a job over here in Redding, California, because we're from the Bay Area, and we were homeless for a while, and oh
my gosh!
Yeah, it was pretty tough. And so she got a job here. She got an apartment. Nobody in the Bay Area would take us with our shitty credit over there in the Bay Area. So she got this place, and then she asked me to come and help her with the rent. And there's no comedy clubs, not really any much acting over here other than a couple theater companies, and they're not nice people over here, unfortunately. So I decided to start a podcast in my bedroom, and that's what I've done.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's funny how life will take twists and turns. You know what I mean? But look how much you've gained through the podcast.
Yeah, especially in a short amount of time, it will take twists and turns. Short amount of time.
So what are your goals? What do you want to have happen?
I don't want to limit myself. I want to do lots of things, comedy, acting. I would love to have my own late night horror show, which I'm going to work on next year and get some friends together and see if we can do one and put it on maybe cable access somewhere or maybe on the internet and stuff. That would be like my main goal. And fortunately, you can do it yourself with that. You don't have to wait around for producers or anything for that.
Right.
And I like to do that. I like to act, and just do stuff and just be happy, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. So are there acting opportunities where you are? Like, do they film anything by you?
No, all there is just theater companies here. There's 2 theater companies, and they're not very nice. I took an acting class with them last year. They were good, but then when I friended some of them on Facebook, they just were aloof, and so I just decided, okay, screw that. I'll just do things my way, you know.
And so, what would your main goal be? Is to do the TV show, or is there anything like what would you say your big goal would be?
My big goal would be, yeah, doing a late night horror show.
You know, I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Because you're persistent and you get things done. And so, you think your car accident helped you get more motivated?
It definitely did, because I had no, I mean, I was going up on stage and doing open mic for years leading up to that, but I was doing it as a hobby. I wasn't doing it as a career. And the reason why I didn't do it as a career is because I had no friends or mentors to like drive me. The only people who believed in me was my family, and they still do. Nobody.
Oh, that's so nice. That's a blessing.
Yes, but I had no.
You know it?
Mm-hmm. I had no friends and mentors to help drive me along, and there was no podcast yet, so I didn't really have the luxury of going online and finding out, you know, the secrets of the business like I can now, you know, and I have learned all of it now. But yeah, but then the accident really set me straight.
That's really impressive that you learned all this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you like really investigated how I do this and how can I make it better and how can I get a hold of people and how can I put it on and how can that's great.
Mm-hmm. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed that I found you, because I always loved what you did in movies back in the 80s.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's amazing. I love your story. You know, it's funny because sometimes when bad things happen, sometimes they can have a blessing in disguise. There can be something good in them.
Mm-hmm.
When they look like bad things, you know. So you were in the hospital for 5 months?
Yes, I was, and that was something I never want to relive again. I never want to relive that again, I'll tell you.
Wow, and what did you do to get by? Like, what did you do to, like, make the time go by and everything? Like, how did you...
I watched
That's a tough one.
I watched TV. I seriously think all the TV watching I did also contributed to it, because I watched TV my whole life. You know, I mean, I didn't have very many friends growing up. I spent my whole time in front of the TV, and once I started drinking, I had very little time to like stay home and watch TV unless I came home and watched it. But like, I didn't have time to watch it all day like I used to and stuff. So it really got me reacquainted with the person I used to be before I started drinking, you know? And that kept it going. But it was torture being in that hospital. I mean, I was on all these meds, all this anesthesia, you know, I broke my leg in 7 places.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a heart attack. I crushed my sternum, broke my hand. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a funny thing. I'm so sorry. It's interesting because when you are in the hospital, I had family members in the hospital, and I walked by, and people do watch a lot of TV, and I thought, you know something? That's one thing I really hope you act, is because I think if you realize that TV can really provide a lot of entertainment to people, especially in the hospitals, because everybody in the hospital is watching TV. And it's kind of a big deal. Like, it's like you realize that TV is bringing pleasure to a lot of people, you know, in hospital settings and things like that.
Right.
So it's like, you know, like, just think if you didn't have TV and you were there for 5 months with no TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had TV.
No, that would be hard.
I had TV, but I just had like 10 channels, and that was enough to get me by.
Right.
Yeah.
What we did is we brought a DVD player in, and so we hooked up DVDs, and we hooked up Apple TV. You know, we did all these different things to try and get more channels. Put Apple TV in, so we could get more channels and Amazon movies and things like that.
Nice.
So that's oh my gosh, what a
Yeah.
Now, can I be personal and ask you a question?
Oh, I am an open book. It's impossible to offend
Okay.
me. Ask me anything.
You said you didn't have friends. You're an outgoing guy. So why don't you think you have friends?
Oh, no, I do have friends now, but I'm just saying.
So you said growing up you didn't have them.
Yeah,
You're an outgoing.
when I was growing up,
Right.
I was very, very shy. And I was a fat kid. I got bullied a lot.
Oh, wow.
I did have friends, but they didn't last very long.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so hard to bully. I got bullied as a kid too, and it's like, in retrospect, like years and years and years later, you see that people who bully are really, there's something wrong with them, not you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like that for someone to bully someone, there's something wrong with them, and why they do that. I know a lot of people who've been bullied also, and it's like, so to do that to a kid is really, really tough. And it's like, I wish kids can understand it's like not even about them.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And like kids like take it on like it's like something's wrong with them, when it's like, no, if someone's bullying you, for someone to be that mean, there's something wrong with them. Like they have like a lot of hurt or a lot of anger or something. It's not you, it's them.
Mm-hmm. Why did you get bullied?
I moved to a new school,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in fourth grade. And it's funny, my sisters got bullied too, and anyway, and even I know my other family members. But so I moved to a new school, and this girl wrote a slam book.
Mm-hmm.
And a slam book is who can say the meanest thing about someone.
Mm-hmm.
They put your name down, and so if you're in the slam book, they put the name down, and everyone tries to say the meanest thing about you. And so I had just moved to the school, and it was like I was in the middle of, it was in the middle of the year, and so like when you come to a school, like you're not even, like you're coming in like halfway through, so it's like, who's the new kid? And so she, right when I moved in, she did a slam book for everyone to say something mean about me. It's like I was trying to be so nice to everyone because I was, I was brand new and really excited to be there. And so I was like nice to everybody. Like I didn't like, I was happy to be there, and it's like being a new kid.
Mm-hmm.
So she just said, let's talk mean about her. So they said, and so I didn't know anybody. So my sisters were older, so I hung out with them because I didn't know anybody. So they said, she thinks she's so cool hanging out with the older kids. And it's like, yeah, because I don't know anyone else. So it was like, so anyway, so it was hard, and I was like so hurt because I was so nice to everyone, and I really like went out of my way to, be liked and like people.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to ask, were all the boys talking to you too?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. I just remember being so shocked that someone would write a book saying, say the meanest thing you can about someone. Like, it's like, I felt like it was like my second week there or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really like, anyway, I think it's a hard thing because it's like, oh my God, like, I better not, I better just be quiet and not say anything. So I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. So, yeah. So bullying is so hard. I know of someone else who they said, we're having a party. And they said, show up. And so the kid, he was so excited to be invited because he was new also.
Mm-hmm.
They were so excited to be invited, and then he showed up and nobody was there. They just like spoofed him and thought it was really funny to,
That's terrible. Yeah.
I know. And I felt so sorry for him because, you're in like, he was like in fourth grade or something and new at the school and trying to make friends and,
Mm-hmm.
and then they bullied him so much he had to actually change schools because they couldn't. So that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad they're talking about bullying now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so what were you bullied over?
mostly my weight and the fact that I was in special ed class because I have a little bit of Asperger's and ADD. So, yeah.
Oh. That usually shows that you're creative. You know what I mean? That
I agree.
it's like you don't fit into the box, and therefore, since you don't fit in the box, and it's not, you're not a science major.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's unfortunate because it's like that. There's a lot of, I think, isn't Bill Gates supposed to have a little bit of Asperger's?
I think he does. Yes.
So I mean, it's like it didn't hurt him too badly. So
definitely not.
Yeah, Bill. So what was your comedy about? Your stand-up.
My comedy has changed in terms of how I presented it. In the early years, I was very bitter over the fact that I couldn't get girls for a little while, and then when I lost 130 pounds, I started getting a little cocky and started saying things that were pretty mean-spirited at the time, and I've dropped all that because I see women differently now that I've not only been out of the accident, but also doing this podcast. I've talked to so many different women, and I see women in a different way than I used to. But I'll tell you this much, though. No matter what I said about them on stage and everything, I have always treated women respectfully because that's how I was raised.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you're right. It's like this podcast has been awesome for you. It's like getting to talk to all these people. It's still so impressive you did so many shows. You could get all those shows and organize the shows and put them all together. It's incredible. That's really great.
Well, there's days where I have like 4 or 5 interviews in one day. Those are the most exhausting days, I'll tell you. But sometimes I'll have like interviews, at least 1 or 2 interviews every day, sometimes 3. So
wow, are you serious? That's wild.
Yeah, and it's not because I have a following, but also because it's timing,
Yeah, it really is. But also, it's harder and harder. This is also impressive because it's harder and harder to get a hold of people. Not before, let's say a couple of years ago, everyone had their phone number on the site and their email, and now it's like you go to try and find someone and there's no email, no phone number. Do you find it's hard to get through to get in contact with people?
The only time it really is difficult is when they're not a person who checks their email or their Facebook messages or something regularly.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are really hard, the ones who say, talk to my agent or my manager, and I do, and, they come up with lame excuses about why, their client can't talk to me or something like that, and occasionally I'll run into somebody who says that they'll let me interview them, and then they say, my manager says now that I can't talk to you or something, and that's always not fun.
Well, because why? Because what's the reason why they can't talk to you?
Because my podcast, they don't say it, but I know it's because my show is so amateurishly done, and they want somebody with
I don't think it is.
Well, they want people with thousands and 100,000s of hits, on the internet or whatever,
Oh, I want your show to do so well for you.
Oh, thank you.
You know what? I really do. So your goal is to, because it's like you have the makings of doing so well. You're persistent. You work hard. You were very polite with your emails. You were really good the way you handled everything, and you were like, some people will write these long, can you do this and we do this, and it's like so long, and then it's too, like, yours were just great. It's free females were great. I mean, it was all, you did it really well. So it's like, you're doing so great. It's really impressive. And I can't believe you were 5 months in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then how did it feel to come home?
It felt like the day would never come. It felt like I was there a lot longer than I actually was.
Wow.
it just, I had this sigh of relief. But I had to make like 3 or 4 more trips back there for some tests, over the next year or so. And every time I went back there, I dreaded it. But then the very last time I had to go, and then I left, that same feeling over again about when I actually left, came back, and it felt so good.
Wow, how could you actually stayed in the hospital for 5 months?
Yes. Never. I mean, I was always in the same bed, but they moved me to different rooms, ICU, recovery, all that stuff.
Wow, I can't believe you were in the hospital that long. That's like usually they want to get you out right away.
Well, you know what? I probably could have left earlier than I actually did, but my leg was so damaged, like I couldn't, recover fast enough and start walking. It took me a long time to do it, and I had to prove to them that I could actually walk and get out of there and stuff. And I had to do it at my own pace. They were like, forcing me. They were trying to force me to like, do it, on their terms, but I didn't. I did it on mine.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. It's an amazing story. I mean, wow. It's incredible. So this started with your podcast. Wow, what a story. You know what? And so are you going to do more stand-up comedy?
I am. Once we're trying to figure out what we're going to do in 2019 in terms of moving. I might go back to the Bay Area for a little bit. My brother is having some issues of his own, and he needs our help. But I'm definitely going to move to Los Angeles at some point, and just try to get work down there and stuff, because it's always been my dream. I've been there numerous times since I've gotten out of the hospital, and I feel like I belong there,
Yeah, and so you'd want to try and get work there and stuff, like acting work and stand-up work.
All of that, yes.
Oh, that'd be so good for you, because I'm sure you know so much from watching TV, because it seems like you're like a fan of movies, like where you watch them a lot, and so from watching, you can really learn acting,
Yeah, movies are my life, and I'll tell you something, watching movies is like the most underrated film school in the world, and most underrated acting school. Yeah. Nobody like realizes that, and people spend all this money on learning acting and film from like, bitter people who never like, achieved their dreams.
Right, totally. And that is the best comment, because I just saw Star is Born with Bradley Cooper, and that movie, did you see it yet?
Not yet, but I want to, because my hero Andrew Dice Clay is in it.
He's awesome. That movie is like better than any acting class you could ever take.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. Like if you just study that movie, I swear, it's like if you just watch that movie several times, you'd learn more about acting than any acting class. It's like the acting is so real. It's so authentic. Every scene is like a masterpiece. It's like and it moves you so much. It's such an art. It's a piece of art. It's so good that it's like you're right. It's like people don't realize, like, watching such great art is a lesson. It's amazing. It's so good, and it moves you. Anyway, I think that movie is a piece of art. It's just amazing.
Is it better than
You're totally right.
Is it better than all the incarnations of it?
I think so. I really like Bradley Cooper a lot. I just think he changed his voice. He sang in it. He wrote it. He directed. He produced it. He acted in it. It's just, it's so soulful to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's, everybody like, what's that comedian? Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
His scene is awesome. Like it's people talking. It just feels like you're eavesdropping on people having a conversation.
Wow.
And that's what makes it so. And that's like acting. Whereas like other acting, you see it's people, acting like, they're. It's such a big difference. Like market it, and market yourself now. Now there's so much more into social media and all that stuff. But you're building that up, so.
Absolutely. I'm just so blessed. And I can't tell you how astounded I feel right now talking to you. And I would love to dive right into your career. Okay. So, first off, are you easily offended at all?
No, I'm not at all. You can offend me if you want.
Awesome.
It's fine.
Awesome. Okay, so going back to the beginning, so are you originally from Los Angeles?
No, from Illinois.
From Illinois. Okay, IMDb was inaccurate with that. So, yeah. So growing up, did you know that you wanted to act?
Yeah, a little bit, because I was modeling, and then it just kind of grew into something. Like it just, they did NBC did it was kind of like, what is it? America's Got Talent. They went around and did it.
Star Search?
Talent Search. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they picked me, and they sent me, and I got a contract with NBC, and so it kind of just evolved like that, kind of just unexpected. But you know what? And I think this is what something I kind of visualized myself acting, and so the unexpected things happened maybe because I had a visualization of it. So I think I'm a big believer in visualization.
Nice.
I was in 75 TV commercials, and
wow.
That's kind of a lot, and I think a lot of it is from visualization. I would always, before I got the part, I'd visualize myself on the set working. So when I went in for the audition, I felt like, okay, I'm just, I have the job, and it's been working, and it worked pretty well. Like to be in 75 TV commercials is kind of a lot, and I think a lot of it was due to visualization.
Yeah, that was back when commercials paid a lot of money.
Yeah, you're right. Man, did they pay a lot of money. Yeah, it was great. Like there was, and you know what happened? Just for the record, they paid a lot of money, and then SAG decided to go on a strike. This is a long, long time ago. They decided to go on a strike, and that was the worst thing they did, because when they went on strike, because back then you'd make good, they would really, I would say like 90% of the commercials were SAG commercials. It was just like they would always pass SAG Screen Actors Guild commercials. SAG goes on strike, and what happened was they said, well, we can't use SAG actors, so we'll just get anybody. So they realized anybody could do commercials. And then from then on, that's when it went downhill. Because then they thought, well, we don't need to pay SAG, and we don't need to pay such good prices, and we don't need to, because of SAG going on strike. The worst thing they've ever done. Whoever thought of that was the worst idea ever. If they had just not gone on strike, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
But then, I worked with like Joe Settlemeyer. He's the one who did Where's the Beef commercial.
Yes.
And he did such funny commercials. Like he kind of started like Real People casting and Unusual People casting, and and then with the Screen Actors, with the SAG strike, that caused more real people and more diversity, which is awesome. Because it's like SAG was just like this narrow group before, so.
Yeah, it's sad how it's changed. So, because you were in Illinois, is that how you got in 16 Candles?
Exactly. And John Hughes was the most brilliant guy ever. Oh my God, he was so amazing.
Yeah.
He would so my line was, what? Or what's up, or something like that. And he goes, okay, here's what we'll do. Or what's wrong, or something. And so he goes, why don't we have you in the floor? And he goes, and you're drunk, and your pearls fall, and you go, oh shit, and then you're we just made up the whole thing. We made up the whole scene like on the spot.
Right.
The was drunk, and I was, like, he was amazing. He was just incredible.
Yeah, I was reading this article that Molly Ringwald published back in spring. She watched The Breakfast Club with her daughter. It's the first time she's seen it since it came out, right?
Wow.
And she said it made her want to do research on John Hughes's career. So she went back into the archives of when he was a writer for National Lampoon, and she uncovered in his writings at National Lampoon a different side of John than she knew on the set of the 3 movies she did with him. And she could not believe just how misogynistic and dark his writing at National Lampoon was, because he was not like that. Yeah, because he was not like that in real life, she said, And
not at all.
I mean, speaking from my point of view as a comedian, I think that
right.
guys know how to make other guys laugh, and if they make jokes about women, they know that's going to get a reaction. Right. And heck, there's women out there who laugh at jokes about themselves, and that's what I think. That's what John Hughes did,
Wow, that's so interesting to hear. That's that was so not how he was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was kind of like, I remember we're like, John, we're working, get over here. Like, I mean, he was just, that's so not like him. I'm surprised that she found that. So what was the summary of her article?
Well, I can't remember the whole thing. I just remember that part of it. And she said she's struggling with how she sees him now. It's hard for her to see.
Wow.
In hindsight, at the time of how he was, after reading his writing, because this is post Me Too, stuff going on.
Right.
That was the basic gist of what she wrote.
That's so wild. He never acted. That's something I never saw of him.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Wow. You never know. That's so interesting.
No.
Wow.
But yeah.
Go figure. But I thought he was a great person, very creative. And I did another film with him, and then they fired the main actress. Mm-hmm. So they had to reshoot everything, and I couldn't reshoot it. So it's interesting how, they can cast someone, and they just decided, they watched dailies and said, we cast the wrong woman. It was Woman in Red. And they had to reshoot the movie, which is really costly.
Mm-hmm.
They did that for Back to the Future, too. I know they hired one actor, and then
Eric Stoltz.
Shooting, and
yeah.
And they realized to hire it. I mean, that's, oh my gosh, to get fired from a movie, that would be not fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald was my brother's first huge movie crush, and I also had a crush in this movie too. Can you guess who it was?
No.
I'm talking to her right now.
Oh, so funny.
Not from this.
Here we have it.
Not from this particular movie, but another one I'm going to bring up in a bit and stuff. But
what one was that one?
I want it to be a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah. I interviewed Leanne Curtis, who played Brandy. She's a lot of fun.
Brandy in which movie?
In 16 Candles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
But that's
so cool.
The whole cast is great, though. Haviland Morris, she's just awesome.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of John and Joan Cusack's earliest movies, too.
I know. I remember everyone laughing at Joan doing with her neck brace and trying to get water.
Yeah.
I just remember everyone thinking Joan was so funny.
Mm-hmm. I went to go see Night Ranger a couple of times, and both times they did Rumors in the Air, the song that's at the dance, I think, in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And both times people were yelling, yeah, 16 Candles.
That's so funny. That movie, it's amazing. I still get residuals from it. I mean,
of course.
It's amazing how that movie just lasted the test of time.
Yeah.
I was at a craft player table once in Vegas,
immortal classic for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of being in Windy City with Kate Capshaw?
The director was amazing. Kate Capshaw is the nicest person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
She's so kind. It was just a great experience.
Did you?
And Kate Capshaw is so nice. I ran into her, every time I'd run into her, I'd see her occasionally. She'd always be like, "Hi, how are you?" Like, just the nicest person.
Mm-hmm.
Just the nicest person ever. Like, you never know she was even a celebrity. She's so kind.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
She's a good person. She's a good person.
Mm-hmm. Did you move to LA after that?
Yeah, I guess I did. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Because you did one of the last episodes of The Love Boat.
Oh, that's so funny. I can't believe this is like this is like torture now. You're right. Now I did. You're right. And Ted McGinley, I thought was very cute.
A lot of women think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was cute. I thought, okay, he's cute. Very cute. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, you got to work with Freddie Flagg and Denver Pyle of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Right. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it's so funny. Okie doke. Yep.
I kind of remember that episode a little bit, yeah. And then, let's see, you did this cute little romantic comedy called My Chauffeur, which I love.
Oh, that's funny. David Beard.
Yep. So, it's so dumb and so Crown International.
Totally. Yeah, definitely.
But Deborah is so charming in it, and there's this great...
Oh, yeah, she is.
This great little message of, women's rights that's so relevant today, as we know. Yeah, but she sells it,
Yeah, she is. She's so cute. So cute. Yeah, she's so cute. Definitely.
Yeah, I tried to get an interview with her, and she's one of those, talk to my agent people,
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. It's okay, though. And now, here comes the...
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
We'll see.
Things turn around.
Yeah. We'll see, though. But now here comes... Oh, go ahead.
I want so well for it to go, for things to happen for you, because you do so much research, you do such a good job with this.
I try. Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Now here comes the movie that I fell in love with you in, The Deliberate Stranger.
Oh, yeah, with Mark Harmon.
Yes. And this is how I felt, I've seen pictures of you now, and you are still a knockout. But in 1986, being in a bikini, girl, you had it going on.
That's so funny. Here we have it.
If that was me in that scene, I would have been like, "Hey, baby, want to go back to my place? I got morning after pills."
That's so funny. It's so funny because, like, back then to walk around in a bathing suit was like, oh well, whatever. Like there's nothing. Like now I'd be like, oh my god, I'm walking around in a bathing suit because all these people. But back then it was just there. You have it.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of bathing suit modeling and stuff, so I was just used to being in bathing suits.
Yeah, I read a review.
And there we have it. Look, Mark Harmon was really nice, very sweet, kind person, really nice person. He was so, he was just such a good, he was just a really nice person,
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I talked to one actress from the movie, and she told me it was just impossible for all the girls not to be captivated and charmed by him. And, 2 years later, my dad met him. He came to San Francisco to do a celebrity softball game at Candlestick Park, and my dad got to meet him after the game, and he was like surrounded by all these beautiful women and stuff, and it was pretty funny, he said.
Right, he was a very nice person, definitely. Very nice, for sure.
Yeah,
I just thought he was nice.
Sure seems like it. I read a review on this movie, and the reviewer said that he was mad that in your scene, you're sunbathing in overcast weather.
Totally.
Yeah. Was that up in Seattle?
No, that was in LA. And it's like, the thing is we should have changed the line. So I said, we'll get out of my sun then. And it's like, it was totally overcast. It's like, can we change this? But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so funny that he said that.
Was that in the middle of November?
No, it was just a cloudy day that day. I don't remember because it was nice out. I remember it was warm.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a cloudy day that day, so it's hard to be sunbathing. It's a cloudy day, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Now comes the underrated slasher classic Killer Party.
Right.
Yes. What was that experience like?
Well, the thing about that was, here's the deal. When you're doing low budget films, they change everything day to day. So every day you get a new set of sides to go over. You get everything new. And then what happens is they change it in the editing too. So in one scene they're like, okay, he dies, your friend dies here. So I start crying really hard. Then in the editing they were like, no, it was just a joke. And it wasn't a joke in how we filmed it. You know what I mean? It's like, so it looks like, oh my God, she's really overacting. But it's like, it was supposed to be my best friend. And so all that was cut out. And then they go, okay, look right here at this accent. This is like, someone who's a murder, here's the killer or whatever.
Right.
So you have to imagine what that is. And so your imagination is totally different than how it ends up looking. It's like, well, they didn't tell me it looked like that. So it's interesting to do a horror film because you just have to use your imagination. It's like, okay, now you're running and you see this thing and so it's an interesting thing that there's in the editing, how they edit it and how they change it so much. It's totally different how we shot it than how it was from when we first read it to how they shot it to how it turned out.
Yeah. I talked to a couple of people who worked with William Fruitt, and they told me that they feel he's so underrated that they're shocked that his name doesn't show up with Wes Craven and John Carpenter and George Romero and all those great horror guys, And I agree.
Oh, that's so interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do it when you keep changing the script and when the editing, when everything keeps changing. It's hard to do something. So yeah, for what he did was good.
Yeah, Martin Hewitt. He was coming off of Endless Love.
Right.
He was a cute guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was.
Terry Hawks. I'm gonna reach out to her soon. I found her recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's so great. That's so interesting that you find all these people. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible how you do that.
I'm very resourceful, I have to say.
Yeah, you are. You're resourceful and persistence, and those are two great skills to have.
Mm-hmm. Whatever happened to Ralph Seymour?
I don't know. I lost touch with him. He had a home in the valley, and I just lost touch with him, but he was a nice guy.
Yeah, he was always playing, streetwise Brooklyn kids back in the 80s.
Yeah. I guess he was trained, professionally, with a master's degree or something like that. He was a professionally trained actor. With grad school or something, or some impressive credentials or something.
Yeah. What was it like working with the late great Paul Bartel?
He's so nice, and he was just a delight. Just a delight.
He's a guy I would love to meet if he were still alive and he was doing conventions. Yeah. I would love to meet him.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you know all these people, that you know who they
you'd be amazed. You know, I give credit where credit's due. I love, people who are talented.
It's so cool that you're a film buff. Really, it sounds like you're a film buff. Yeah.
I'm the biggest film buff there is. I got VHS.
That's why you'd be a good actor.
Yeah, I got VHS still. I got DVD. I love movies.
Wow. What's your favorite movie of all time?
One you actually mentioned before, Back to the Future.
Oh, really? And why is that your favorite movie?
I've had an emotional connection to it since I was about 3 years old. It just has everything a movie buff could ask for. All the genres of great movies. It's got great acting, great situations. Nothing's wasted. Nothing's thrown away. Everything's there for a purpose. It's just a well-made movie, I think.
Wow. See, you are a film buff.
Yeah, I took a...
I wonder if you could write about film or something.
Oh, I write screenplays.
Like with an ebook or something.
Oh, I've written a lot of screenplays since I was 12.
Wow. And can you send those to somebody to try and see about getting them produced?
Oh yeah, I've shown scripts that I've written recently to people and stuff. And it's so hard to make independent films nowadays because there's the whole route of getting financing, getting it made, and then taking it to festivals so it can get distribution. It's really unfortunate. But I've had people read my stuff and say, you are a good writer and I would make this movie, but, it takes time and stuff. So we'll see.
Because you have so much knowledge, it seems like you would be good at that.
Oh, the first script I ever wrote when I was 12 years old, I wrote a porno version of Blade Runner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was called Blade Runner, and...
Oh, that's funny.
It was so bad I threw it away. I wish I kept it, though, just to see how... I don't remember much of it. I wish I could, see, how my mind was at 12 compared to now,
Right. That's interesting. But it's interesting you wanted to write.
Yeah, because my mom's friend, he's a screenwriter. He wrote, the early drafts of 12 Monkeys, and he actually let me read one of the drafts when I was, 12, and that's how I began writing.
Oh.
My mom bought me a typewriter, and I started doing it.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, you worked on 2 movies with Blake Edwards, A Fine Mess and Blind Date.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. I know you were a car hop in A Fine Mess. Are you the one who dumps the French fries on Ted Danson and gives him the finger?
Yes, I am, and that was all improvised also. It was all an improvised scene, and then I said to Blake Edwards, I go, Blake, what about if I do this and give him the finger? And he just looks at me and he goes, okay, but just make sure you give him the finger over here. He goes, when you're at this part, it was, and so then he just called and said, you're booked for the movie. And with Blind Date, it was with Bruce Willis, where he held the gun to his head, and he goes, now what could, it was in the trailer, and he goes, now what could happen? And then they held the gun to his head, and they go, hi, and then I go, hi. And so they put a fright wig on me, and they blacked out my teeth, and they put acne on me, and they, so it was you wouldn't even recognize me. But anyway,
yeah,
that was Blake Edwards again, because it's 3 people, so it's hi, and then if I do hi again, it's just boring. But all of a sudden, if you have a high voice, then it's oh my God, what is that? You know what I mean? Then it's it adds more humor maybe, or makes it a little bit more of a twist. So Blake said, do that, and I go, how about this one? And he goes, yeah. Blake was, wow, what a great person.
Yeah, it sounded like he was a very collaborative guy when he worked with actors. I've heard that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, he'd make sure the set was everybody left at 5, and it was a family, and, there's no stress, and he kept it so it was just a great time. So
you have any memories from Who's That Girl?
Madonna was amazing. I worked with her for 6 weeks, and she, there were people running the marathon in New York who would stop, like, who had trained for months and months, if not a year, and would, like, stop just to watch Madonna, to see Madonna. Like, schools would get out of school, and they'd all, like, line up so they could see her, and she was just a trip. Like, it was amazing how, even back then, she had such a following, and everybody wanted to see her, and she just had a great personality.
Mm-hmm.
Great, spunky. Like, she doesn't seem as spunky now, but she had just a spunky personality. She was nice. She was great.
Mm-hmm. You got to work with...
Not that we hung together, but she was, like, great, and she came up to me at the time, and she's like, hi, and she was nice. Very, very nice person.
Mm-hmm. You got to work with Haviland Morris again.
Oh, yeah, she's great. She's great. Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be tied up with like a dozen other girls.
Yeah. It was really a fun time. Really fun time.
I love it
really fun.
Yeah, I love it when the cop says to you all, "Hey, are you girls all together?" And you're all like, "Yeah." Your face is so priceless when you do that.
That's funny. I don't know. I think I saw the movie. I think I saw the movie once. I don't really remember it that much. But yeah. But Madonna was amazing. Like, she, and everybody on the movie thought she was so funny, and then it kind of bombed. The movie bombed, and she got such like some negative reviews. And on the set, it seemed like it was going so well and everything. Like, when you're friends with people and everybody's doing stuff, it seems like it's fun and funny and stuff. But then it didn't translate that well. It seemed like because her reviews were bad. But she was so lively, and she just had a really great personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's an underrated cult movie now, and I like it a lot. The joke that just has me on the floor laughing every time, it's the running gag where every cab driver had Wendy in the cab, but they never gave her a ride.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so anyway, she was, I don't know, that was her, and then she did the Who's That Girl tour.
Right.
And that was such a great tour.
Mm-hmm.
She's so talented, it's crazy. I thought she was really talented in the movie, but it just didn't turn out that well, I think. I don't remember the movie that well, but I just remember on set how much we thought it was going so well. So you just never know.
Yeah, it was bad timing, but still made a good movie anyways.
Yeah.
And then you had a recurring role on Dallas, I remember.
Yeah, that was great. It was a lot of fun. And that's one of those things, right before I got Dallas, and people remember that, like, if you say you're on Dallas. But what's interesting about that is, like, right before that I was up for a movie, and I had, like, 8 callbacks, and it was going to Italy, and then they say, if you booked it, you're going to Italy. And then the last minute they said, no, we decided to go with someone else. And it's like, how could you unbook me? like the one person they wanted or something they got instead. And so I was so bummed, and I'm like, oh, and that movie never ended up even going to video. And it shot in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy, kind of a well-known actor I saw, and he said that the director was doing cocaine, and he was, like, totally drugged up all the time. It was mafia-owned. It would have been the worst situation. And here, the point of the story is, because I couldn't do the movie, I got Dallas, which was a great situation for me. But it looked like at the time, like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I lost the movie. I was supposed to go to Italy. I was working with this well-known person. It would have been great. But now in hindsight, like, it was the best thing that happened. I'm so glad I didn't work on the movie, because he said it was the worst movie he's ever worked on. And so the things that sometimes you think are bad may not be so bad, and the things you think, so you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So because I didn't get that movie, I got to work on
That must have been, I mean, that was like one of the most popular shows in the world at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone knows, like it's kind of like, oh, you worked on Dallas. It's like, yeah, it was. I worked with Larry Hagman and Patrick Duffy, and just all the stars there. So yeah, it was nice. It was a nice experience.
Yeah, when you do a popular TV series, next thing you know, everybody in the world knows who you are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you get marriage proposals.
Yeah.
In the mail.
You got those?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, okay, there we have it. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, definitely. That was a big. Yeah, people know you right away. Yeah.
I feel bad I never got to send you one of those.
That's okay. That's okay.
And then your last movie was Paramedics, which I used to watch on USA Up All Night when I was a kid.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And what was that? George. Oh, and then Chris McDonald. I have the best story for Chris. He was in Thelma and Louise.
Right.
And so he said his first day of shooting, he was really nervous. And so, kind of nervous to shoot with Ridley Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said that, and this is such a great lesson, he said that he tripped and he fell. And instead of going like, oh God, I tripped and fell and, I'm sorry, we'll do over. When he tripped and fell, all of a sudden he turned to Gina Davis and he goes, look what you made me do. It's all because of you. You do this to me. And it was that scene so funny because he blames it on her and he just improv that. And then Ridley Scott said that was so brilliant. And ever since then, he said the movie went so well. He said if he hadn't made that mistake, it wouldn't have gone as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never understood.
So it's like,
I never understood his bad blonde mullet in that movie.
His what?
That blonde mullet that he has in Paramedics.
Oh, yeah.
I never understood that.
Yeah, I know. I know, totally. But anyway, so that was a great story with Thelma and Louise. Did you see Thelma and Louise?
Of course, it's a classic.
Yeah. So that was all improv. So that's what's great if you can improv. If something real happens, you just go with it.
Mm-hmm. Did you get this movie because you met Stuart Margolin on the set of A Fine Mess?
No, I didn't even know they were. No, that's funny. I didn't think of that. No, just
a coincidence.
Coincidence. Yeah.
George Newbern, I think he's a very talented actor, but he kind of lives in infamy because he did the voice of that dinosaur Theodore Rex in that horrible movie with Whoopi Goldberg.
Wow, you are a film buff. This is so cool that you really know all the films. You know it?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
this
indeed.
Has got to, I swear, I think you could write, or, since you know so much, you probably know what makes a good film, or like to write, or something.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying. So.
I mean, you've got it. I know something's gonna happen for you. Oh. It's gonna be like beyond awesome.
Oh, you're so nice. You really are, Elaine. Thank you.
I really think so. You've got it. Like you have all the knowledge of the films. You have the persistence. You do the work. So there we have it.
Mm-hmm. So why on earth did you leave the movie business?
Let me think. I just started other things. I ended up getting a PhD in naturopathy and a master's degree in psychology, and just keep trying new things. Keep going with the flow. Keep trying new things, going with the flow, things like that.
But did you ever miss acting?
Keep growing. I don't know. Not really. I mean, I loved it. It was such a great time, so I missed that, and I like it. But you keep going. If I would. It's funny. Just like it was in the last month, someone here said there's films here. You should go out for them because they
That's a very positive way of looking at it, I have to say.
Yeah. You just, because there's like I said, there's some reason why things happen, so you have to kind of go with like what, I don't know why this is happening, but just let's go with it and see, make the best of it. Because there could, like you with your hospital stay, like you watched a lot of TV, you decided to get this going, so you don't know, you just got to go with what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever audition for anything that became super iconic?
You mean that I didn't get the part?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you audition just so much. I've auditioned for so many things. And that's another thing is, you audition, everyone goes, I worked a good amount and made a good living. And the thing is, but what people don't realize is all the auditions you don't get.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you get one audition, you could have lost about 70. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So the point is like everyone just, it's like Babe Ruth, he struck out more than he had more home runs. But everyone looks at the home runs and thinks like, oh, wow, that's so great. So it's like, yeah, there were a ton of things, and a ton of things I was down to the last wire and didn't make and stuff, and that's how it is. And so that's why, like, if things happen that, don't seem favorable, just keep going.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going. You just got to stay like, okay, how can I make the best of this situation? And keep going. Because, at the time, there's a lot of things. It's like, oh, wow, I would have wanted that so much. And, it's hard, especially if you get down to the network,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't get it. Like, to get to the network is like a huge deal, and then you go before the network. Back then, the NBC, like, was the big deal. And, you get before the network, and then you don't get it. And it's like, what a bummer. You know what I mean? But, then, so you just have to make the best of everything, and there's a reason why, and know that I think there's a higher plan for people, and that, things kind of work together. If you're on your purpose, you'll know.
Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like I was meant to do something in this business. I don't know which one yet, or all yet, but I know I'm going to find out.
Right. Yeah, because you're such a movie buff. This is like, for you to be in this business would be, for sure. Like, this is so now you just have to really get clear on what it is, and maybe visualize what it could be, and, see what that could be for you.
Yeah.
You're good at making things happen.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite movie of all time?
I think The Star Is Born. I just saw that, and I'm like so amazed by it. I think that's my favorite right now.
Really?
I just think the acting is flawless. The acting is like, it's so flawless, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's so raw, it's so authentic, I believe every single word that comes out of every actor's mouth. Like, it just is, I think it's one of the best acting I've seen. That makes that, I liked Gravity, too, with Sandra Bullock,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know why nobody else liked it. I saw that at a pre-screening,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I just thought that was good, because it was someone against all odds, and she pulls through and stuff. I like that. But yeah, Star Is Born, loved. Thought it was great.
Nice. Do you have favorite actors?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many. Just anybody who's authentic, real. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney's great. Sandra Bullock's great. Oh, who I liked? I wish I can remember the name of the movie, and then I'll let you go because I know I'm taking so long here.
Oh, no.
It's the guy. And I loved it. It's such a good movie. It's about this guy who sees this girl in New York, and they like get together all night, and she's married, but then they just stay out till like 4 a.m. Oh, I always It's like so simple. It was just like a simple kind of love story.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees her in New York, and she's at the subway, and then she can't get home because her purse was stolen or something like that, or she lost her purse.